Nothing contained in this podcast should be considered a substitute for professional medical advice. This content does not represent our respective employers and is purely the opinion of the podcast hosts. We are not your personal medical providers. Sorry, friends. So, if you have concerns or are seeking a diagnosis or treatment, please seek individual advice from a healthcare provider in your area. We are not liable for any risks associated with acting upon the information contained in this podcast. This is intended for educational and entertainment purposes only, so enjoy the ride.
Please drink responsibly and in moderation. Before drinking, please be sure to be of the legal drinking age for your country. We do not encourage the misuse of alcohol. Hey, welcome back to Medical Media Mixer. I'm Tara, your co-host, and today we're doing something a little different. No cocktail, no pop culture pairing, no deep dive rabbit hole. Well, maybe a little one. This is The Shot, a quick hit on a medical news story that's been making the rounds and honestly too important to wait for a full episode. I'm going to give you the facts, break down what it actually means for you, and get you out of here in under 10 minutes because your time matters and this story is worth knowing. So let's get into it. Here's what you need to know about the Hantavirus outbreak on the MV Hondius. If you've been scrolling the news this week, you may have seen headlines about a cruise ship somewhere in the Atlantic with a deadly virus on board. And yes, it's as serious as it sounds, but it's not a reason to panic. So let me break it down. The ship is called the MV Hondius, a Dutch-flagged expedition vessel. This isn't your typical Caribbean cruise ship. It's a small luxury polar expedition vessel carrying around 147 passengers and crew. It departed from Argentina, the southern tip of South America, on April 1st, 2026, and set off on a remote voyage through the South Atlantic. Think Antarctica, South Georgia Island, Tristan da Cunha, St. Helena, Ascension Island, very, very off the beaten path. And somewhere along that journey, something went very wrong. As of today, May 7th, 2026, there are 8 cases of hantavirus linked to this ship. 3 confirmed by laboratory testing, 5 suspected. 3 people have died. 3 passengers were medically evacuated earlier today. A new case has been confirmed in a passenger who has already disembarked and is now being treated in a hospital in Zurich, Switzerland. This ship is currently making its way to the Canary Islands, about a 3-day journey where remaining passengers will be screened. So what is hantavirus and why is this particular outbreak getting so much attention? Hantaviruses are a family of viruses carried by rodents. Different rodents, different parts of the world, different strains. In North America, you may have heard of Cinnobre virus, responsible for outbreaks in Southwest U.S. typically linked to deer mice. In South America, the dominant strain is called the Andes strain, and this is the strain that has been confirmed in the Hondius outbreak. Here's why the Andes strain is significant and why WHO has been paying close attention. It is the only hantavirus in the world with documented evidence of person-to-person transmission. Every other hantavirus on the planet requires direct contact with infected rodent droppings, urine, or saliva. You breathe in these contaminated particles, you get sick. Human to human, not a thing, except with the Andes strain. With the Andes virus, contact with a sick person, sharing a bed, kissing, sharing food or drinks, or even sleeping in the same room can transmit the virus. A study in Chile found that sexual partners of infected individuals had a nearly 18% risk of infection. For other household contacts, people in the same home but not sharing a bed, that risk dropped to 1.2%. This is not airborne spread like COVID or flu. It requires close, sustained contact. But it's more than any other hantavirus can say. So what does getting sick with Andes virus actually look like? The illness is called Hantavirus Cardiopulmonary Syndrome, and it comes in 2 phases. The first phase is what we call the prodrome. It's pretty ordinary. Fever, muscle aches, chills, nausea, diarrhea, sometimes some abdominal pain. It lasts roughly 2 to 7 days, and it could look like a stomach bug, a bad flu, a GI virus. This is what makes it dangerous because by the time you know what you're actually dealing with, you may be heading into phase 2. That phase is called the cardiopulmonary phase, and it can arrive very suddenly. Shortness of breath, rapid heart rate, crashing blood pressure, fluid pours into your lungs. The heart begins to fail. In severe cases, the deterioration can happen within hours, and most deaths occur within 24 hours of hospitalization. The case fatality rate for Andes virus ranges from 20 to 50%, with most estimates around 30 to 35%. There is no approved antiviral, no vaccine. Treatment is entirely supportive, oxygen, mechanical ventilation, and in severe cases, ECMO, which is a machine that takes over the work of both your heart and lungs, keeping you alive while your body tries to fight back. The good news is, if there is any, patients who make it through that critical window, typically 2 to 4 days, can recover, and the lung damage is largely reversible. Now, where did this come from? How did Hantavirus end up on a polar expedition ship? The WHO is currently thinking that the source was most likely outside the ship, probably on land, before or during the voyage. The first case, a man developed symptoms on April 6th, just 5 days after departure. He and his wife had traveled through Argentina and Chile before boarding. The leading hypothesis is that they were exposed to infected rodent material during their time in South America, somewhere in the field, cleaning out a cabin, hiking through an area with rodent activity. His wife fell ill as a close contact and died shortly after being evacuated. Other cases may have picked up exposure on remote islands, stops along the route, South Georgia, Tristan da Cunha, Nightingale Island, places with significant wildlife and in some cases rodent issues. Argentina's health ministry has launched an investigation. They are actively retracing the itinerary of that first couple and conducting rodent capture and testing in, I'm going to pronounce this carefully, Ushuaia, where the ship departed. So, what does this actually mean for the average person? The WHO has been clear. The public health risk is low. This is not a situation where you need to worry about the person next to you on the subway. Andes virus does not spread easily. It requires very close contact. It is endemic to South America, specifically southern Chile and Argentina. So unless you are traveling to those regions, hiking or farming in rural endemic areas or in close contact with someone who is actively infected, your risk is essentially zero. For travelers heading to Patagonia, Argentina, or Chile, this is worth knowing. Avoid contact with rodents and rodent habitats. Do not clean out dusty cabins or barns without protection. Ventilate spaces before entering them. Don't eat or drink outside where rodents may have been. These are the same precautions recommended for hantavirus anywhere in the world. They're just especially relevant in the southern cone of South America. For healthcare providers, if you have a patient returning from South America with fever, GI symptoms, and any respiratory component, hantavirus should be on your differential. Early recognition and rapid ICU transfer saves lives with this one. There's no specific treatment, but supportive care and getting an ECMO-capable center makes a real difference in outcomes. So the story on the MV Hondius is still developing. More evacuations happened today. A new case confirmed in Europe tells us that passengers who left the ship may still be in their incubation window, which can stretch up to 49 days. Contact tracing is ongoing, and the Canary Islands arrival will bring a larger screening operation. We'll keep watching this one, and if there's enough here for a full episode, trust me, we'll do it right, cocktail and all. But for now, you've got the shot. So you know what the Andes virus is, why it's unique, and what it does to the body, and what your actual risk is. Stay curious, stay informed, and we'll see you Monday for a full Medical Media Mixer episode. Until next time, I'm Tara. Take care of yourselves.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Medical Media Mixer podcast. If you enjoyed the conversation, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review us on your favorite podcast platform. Your support helps others find the show. Want to keep the conversation going? Follow us on social media. We're at Medical Media Mixer Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and on Pinterest, the Medical Media Mixer board.
If you'd like to support the show and help us grow, check us out on Patreon. Patreon.com/Medical Media Mixer Podcast. And on Buy Me a Coffee, buymeacoffee.com/Medical Media Mixer Podcast. If you have a topic idea, feedback, or just want to say hi, send us an email at medicalmediamixer@gmail.com. You can also stream all of our episodes and find more info on our website, medicalmediamixer.podbean.com. We're available on all major podcast platforms, so no matter where you listen, we're there. Thanks again for listening, and until next time, keep mixing medicine and media.